Hey, welcome to Left Night with Kendra Dawsey. And now, here's your host, Kendra Dawsey.
Hey everyone. Hi Zach. How are you doing today?
I'm good. You know what I just realized is that when I say that, I always point this way, or I do it. I don't know if I do it in the right direction to which I'm pointing to you or not. I should pay closer attention to what I do.
No, it's actually fine because I'm omnipresent. I'm everywhere. So wherever you point, I'm there.
I
It's all good.
I forgot about your many skills such as omnipresence.
Yeah, people tend to. But yeah,
Well,
I'm omnipresent. I'm omnipotent. It's all good.
So, what is on your all-knowing mind this week?
That is a great question, Zach, because this topic probably proves I'm not actually all knowing. Here at Left Night, we acknowledge that we may be shaking the table a little bit with this statement, but I think it needs to be said. America's kind of weird with guns. Just a general warning, we are going to have some images of guns here as we talk about gun control, and I completely understand if you don't want to look at them. Just hit that pause button. We'll be back after come back after 5 minutes. That being said, here we go. In the past month, there have been 45 mass shootings in this nation, leaving scores of individuals wounded or injured or killed. And it is truly a sign of America that the perpetrators of these mass shootings have been more diverse than the Oscar nominees. We've had a Muslim mass shooter, a black mass shooter, and perhaps most surprisingly, a brony mass shooter who wrote in his suicide note, "I hope that I could be with Applejack in the afterlife. My life has no meaning without her." This is a direct quote. Please let whoever is behind our nation's collective monkey paw know that this is not actually what we meant by diversity, equity, and inclusion. Anyway, after any mass shooting, people tend to propose solutions to stopping gun violence in the US. Average citizens, desperate for an end to the violence, debate the merits of background checks, bans on certain firearms for the non military populace, or even giving the NRA more money to stop this. What a lot of these proposed solutions overlook is that the problem might be first and foremost with American culture. Our culture, especially around firearms, is pretty fascist. Lots of people, white people, want guns because they think they're unofficial police officers or they want to reenact Manifest Destiny. By focusing on the harming of people of color aspects, they completely forget the basic tenets of gun ownership, like gun safety and not shooting yourself in the genitalia. At Left Night, we want to invite our viewers to, there's shooting yourself in the genitalia. Don't do it. At Left Night, we want to invite our viewers to think about these following questions. Is it possible to heal this nation's deeply traumatic relationship with guns? Is it possible to not fetishize gun ownership, but see it as one of many methods used for protecting our communities? Can we set up community care so that owning a gun doesn't increase your risk of dying by suicide or by being killed by your spouse? Also, why is it that conversations about gun control just completely skip over the police? In the late 60s, Black Panthers championed a view of gun rights that focused on the rights of Black people in this country, training in gun safety for all members, and communicating contemporary laws behind gun rights to the police. Members of this group famously began to follow police cars and dispense legal advice to African Americans who were stopped by police while legally carrying their weapons. The groups refer to these activities as police patrols, and it was, dare I say, unpopular with law enforcement. But the Black Panthers left white America so shook that the NRA fought alongside the government and the governor of California at the time, Ronnie Reagan, for stricter gun regulations. But unlike the Black Panthers, who were able to articulate a very real threat against urban communities and did many programs to support the overall livelihoods of individuals, the most vocal current day gun activists don't want the government to take their guns, but they're completely fine with police officers being armed to the teeth and the increasing militarization of this country, police officers and army included. It goes without saying that this is because they align themselves with these imperialist forces. But at some point, The face-eating leopard party will come to get them as well. And this says nothing about the overwhelming entitlement entrenched in American life. The very same entitlement that says a young man can kill Asian women suspected to be sex workers because he's tired of being sexually aroused, or that says it's good for this country to attack a Black church. These disgusting actions, unfortunately, only mimic the actions of our military abroad. Here at Left Nite, we don't have all the solutions to gun violence in America. However, we do envision a future where there is less war, death, and hate, and it is perhaps that optimism that keeps us hopeful that there will be less gun violence in America eventually. We'll be back after this commercial break.
What do you need to be a successful revolutionary? A good night's sleep. How do you get a good night's sleep? With a great mattress. I've heard. I don't know. That's what they say on the commercials I hear on other shows. Oh, like buy this mattress and you'll sleep good. And I think my mattress is fine. I don't know how sleep works though, because sometimes I feel like I don't know. I'm like tired a lot, and like sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep because I'm on my phone too late, and that probably makes sense. But then like other times, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed at 9 o'clock, and then I'm still tired when I wake up. So I don't know how it works. I don't know how you get a good night's sleep. Drinking doesn't actually help. You think it might, but it doesn't. Sleep is weird. So if you know how to get a good night's sleep, let me know. CBD oil, that's not real. That's bunk. Yeah. I'm just really tired today. I'm sorry. I also don't know if coffee is real. Like I know it's real, but I'm skeptical that it actually makes you more awake, because I don't know. I always end up wanting to take a nap after I've drank coffee. I'm like, oh, this is going to make me productive. And then I'm not, I'm just like, I have like really good tweets for an hour, but I'm on the toilet half the time. And so I don't know what, science is weird, and nobody really knows how to be awake and how to not be asleep, but we do know it's important to sleep. And maybe the mattress helps. I don't know. I've had some really good night's sleep, just like falling asleep on a couch at 3 p.m. So who's to say what the real way to make you sleep good is? All I can tell you is that I'm very tired now and a lot. So maybe buy one of those mattresses, or tell me how it is, or tell me how you sleep so well. Also, on those commercials, they're always like, oh, if you don't like the mattress, like, send it back. Like, could you imagine stuffing a mattress back into the container?
Zach, you okay?
I'm hanging in there.
I can make you some like valerian tea to calm you down. If you drink it a lot over time, you sleep better, apparently. I don't know.
That sounds not real. It might be real. But...
Zach disbelieves all forms of science.
Yes. Well, I mean, tea-based sciences are not the strongest of sciences.
I'm not saying they're the strongest, but I don't want to give you like opium to help you fall asleep, because that'll work, but it's also addictive. Tea is not as addictive if the tea is not made out of opium.
Okay, I appreciate you not getting me addicted to narcotics.
I try my best. So today on Left Nite, we've established America around guns is weird, sleep is weird. What else is weird this week, Zach?
A police officer was held accountable for something. That's kind of weird, right?
That actually is very weird.
Statistically very, very weird.
Statistically very weird. If you have not, I'm sure you have heard the news. Mm-hmm. Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all 3 counts that he was charged with. First of all, I just want to say, a little separate from the trial, but truly anti-Black of them to hold the decision, the final decision of the jury, to air that on 420. Like, that was supposed to be a relaxing day for the American populace.
Right. There was a chance that it was going to be a particularly bad 420.
Yes, and that day is already Hitler's birthday. Like, there's
Right.
enough going on that day. Mm-hmm. We wanna keep the good vibes,
Right.
But yeah, what's your take on it, Zach?
I mean, it's just it really, if they were going to throw one cop to the fire and sort of like to try to create the illusion that the system is good and just and you can get actually just outcomes out of it. Derek Chauvin was sort of the platonic ideal of that, because what he did was so egregious and so just like the amount of time he did it for is so, like, even with all of the killer cops that are out there, most of them don't take that long to kill somebody. So it's going to, I will be genuinely surprised if we ever see, or I don't know. I don't know the statistics on times that police have been held accountable for killing people, but I would be surprised if many of them are sort of the standard. I'm a big fraidy cat and I drew my gun and fired on somebody and killed them. I would be very surprised if we see that type of, which seems to be the most common type of police execution to ever be held accountable.
Yeah. I do agree. I think I saw a statistic floating around that's like, maybe 1 point something of police who kill people on the job are actually charged with something. Most of the time they're able to use the I was very scared of this child who may have had a knife or may not have excuse. So yeah, it's definitely unusual. It's kind of, I definitely don't think, justice was served. I hope Derek Chauvin has a miserable life, and this is one step towards that. That's like one thing. Like, yeah, when I heard that he was found guilty, I was kind of like, suffer, bitch. But that's different from stopping police brutality. And I acknowledge that I'm a vengeful bitch, but that's different from changing the system.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but my sort of non-lawyer understanding of how this all works. There was one particular Supreme Court case where, like, the cops, beat and bruised up this guy who was in a rush to get out. He was like a diabetic, and he needed blood sugar, and he was acting frantic in a convenience store trying to get orange juice, and they beat the hell out of him.
Oh God!
And that's sort of been the case that the Supreme Court did. They didn't rule on it, but they sent it back down and said that cops needed something more than the cops needed a reason in order to use force on somebody. And the way that that's sort of been interpreted is that any cop, if they are scared, is allowed to use deadly force. That's sort of, again, not a lawyer, but that's sort of my understanding of this, our very dumb legal system and the very low standard it holds for the muscle of the state. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it was kind of a nice relief to actually, like, even though I'm not under any illusion that this means anything, it was kind of a relief to just not have another fucking thing,
Yeah.
that he's gonna go to jail, and I think that people who are trying to say the fact that Derek Chauvin is going to jail is a reason why we should not be for prison abolition is stupid. That's the only thing I have to say, because, like, it's like, oh well, what are you going to do with the cops? Well, the cops cops don't go to jail on the whole, and the idea is to not have those cops exist in the first place. Like jail does nothing, prisons do nothing to deter that activity. So
yeah.
I guess maybe that makes you feel a little bit better that one out of 1,000 times the door swings the other way. But I would just rather take the door off the hinges.
Yeah. Also, prisons are a large site of white supremacist organizing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Derek Chauvin is, honestly, I kind of hope he's in solitary so that all the white people in the prison, I mean, they're probably going to put him in solitary because a lot of people will probably be mad at him and try to beat him up. But also, we don't want anything. We don't want him spreading his message of indiscriminately shooting people or killing people.
Yeah. Which it's off topic, but for the record, solitary should pretty much not exist. It is
solitary is pretty much what?
It pretty much should not exist.
Yeah, solitary shouldn't exist.
Yeah. There are many studies that show that spending more than 10 days in solitary confinement does irreparable damage to somebody's mental health. And despite 10 days being that threshold, in most states you can hold somebody in solitary for up to 2 years. So it's bad news. Our legal system is bad.
Legal system's bad, and great alternative to solitary confinement for Derek Chauvin would be hell. If he gets sent to hell, that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, has anything not soul crushing happened this week? Every once in a while I'm like, this is supposed to be a comedy show, but there's not many. This isn't really the time for a comedy leftist news show. It's just more people are dying. Government doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about how it's 2016 again because of that crazy Hillary Clinton tweet.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fun and vaguely leftist. So follow Zach on Twitter at Dr. Zach Jones. When you retweeted that Hillary Clinton tweet, I just saw the looking eyes, so eyes. So I was like, what does this mean? But I realized it was over a clip where Hillary Clinton was like, oh, I supported healthcare before Bernie. And it's okay, listen, people are dying. Okay, you could still this is a weird, I don't know. It's a weird, it's a real weird rivalry to continue after.
I mean, I have to disagree. I think it absolutely rules that Hillary Clinton has decided not to meddle further in our existing politics and just live forever in some sort of sci-fi time jail. She cannot escape 2016. She is stuck there for the rest of eternity. I think that actually is a fitting punishment for her crimes.
Yes. If only Derek Chauvin could also have that crime. He's just stuck in 2021 where everyone hates him and his wife left him.
Yes. I think it kind of rules that she's in time jail forever. Although yes, I do think it is funny that she's like, oh, I supported a single payer healthcare in 1993. It's like, okay, but then you didn't anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just hold every opinion and say first and then go to a different opinion.
Yeah. I don't really get it. Good luck to her, I guess. I don't know. Good luck to her and her husband.
And so many. Yeah. Oh, and her husband, known associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. No, it's kind of. It kind of felt nice to be in 2016, for just a moment, just looking at the very weird people who are still gonna die on their shields for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
It was just going through the mentions on that tweet it felt like I was visiting like Colonial Williamsburg or something where people are just playing like it's still an old year.
remember how innocent we were in 2016? Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I was that innocent. I was probably kind of cynical, but there was not a pandemic.
Right.
We could go to a bar and drink our problems away. Right now, it's harder.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really and yes, and my favorite. I retweeted some of these people, but my absolute favorite people, the people I found who were making fun of Bernie Sanders for the junior senator from Vermont, which just means there's been another senator for longer than him.
Yeah, which is like also impressive because he's been a senator for a real long time.
Yeah, it's just like it's so strange. The people that are out there. Yeah, I mean, frankly I agree with them. I think that if Bernie wanted to be president, he should have murdered Patrick Leahy so that he could be the senior senator from Vermont.
Truly, finally, finally, this is how Bernie could still win.
Yeah, becoming senior. Yeah, I mean, yes, and then maybe all the other senators, because the Senate's got to go away. We got to abolish it. Yeah. But it looks like we moved a step closer to what will probably not happen, DC statehood.
Oh, I guess that's a little bit of good. We moved closer to being rejected.
Right, yeah.
For DC statehood.
Yeah, the House voted on it, I guess.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, and now the Senate the Senate is so stupid and it shouldn't exist. And I don't totally know how it works. But I think they might need 60 votes for that to matter, even though there's only 100 people in the Senate. So they need a super majority in order to pass it through, I think. Because of the filibuster, it's a dumb constitution, folks.
Yeah, I also don't know that much about the Senate. If you do know about the Senate, talk about it in the comments, I guess. Yeah. If you know how sleep works, you can also talk about it in the comments.
Right. This feels like a good episode to just correct us a lot.
Yeah. If you have the solution for gun violence in America, without while protecting citizens from the police, also talk about that in the comments. We are happy to hear anything.
If you want to talk about the Galactic Senate from the Star Wars prequels,
talk about that in the comments.
It sounds like, have fun with it, okay?
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun.
This has been a bleak week. The first news item that's on my mind is Micaiah Bryant, who I think 15 minutes after the Derek Chauvin ruling, it wasn't the George Floyd ruling, the killer of George Floyd ruling, she was shot by police. She was a 15-year-old girl who was shot by police in Columbus.
Yeah,
I think that really sticks to the point that we have to, we do have to keep working towards abolition. And of course, there were a lot of people that were kind of like, oh, but what do you, or, if you get robbed, what are you going to do if there's no police? And it's like, what do the police do?
Right. It's a fundamental, possibly deliberate misunderstanding of where the source of crime is and where sort of that type of stuff comes from. It doesn't come from whether or not they're open.
Yeah. So I wish, man. I guess we could talk about this because it is technically comment. I think commenting on. Let me know if I've read comedian subtweets correctly. Oh no, Zach got abducted.
Am I here?
Yes, you're here now. Okay. Let me know if I read comedian subtweets correctly, but I think Tim Dillon was somewhat canceled because he called Micaiah Bryant fat and was like, oh, if you're fat, you're not a child, and no one liked it. So that's how comedy's going.
I mean, he's always been sort of a reactionary dipshit.
Yeah, he has been.
And he's gotten away with it, I think, because there are a lot of conservatives who just fundamentally do not understand how a joke works, and that's why they're so unfunny.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the main your sort of gut felds, so to speak. Just absolutely no idea of how humor works and what makes something funny. But then there's the other kind that sort of understands how a joke works and is just so deliberately off-putting and upsetting to look at and listen to that it just ruins anything that they can do with their understanding of how a joke works.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're a fan of Tim Dillon, send him this clip. We'll put it on YouTube. We'll probably get some hate in the comments, but maybe we'll get some fans.
Yeah, I mean, much like Tim Dillon, this episode has not been particularly funny because we are too mad.
But we have a better excuse.
So we have that in common with Mr. Dillon, is that we are also too mad to be funny.
Oh, I just got a note. I was freezing. Am I still freezing?
A little bit.
Oh shit! God damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. You could. I'm glad I could be heard. Just want to say, we have a better excuse for not being funny because we are trying to talk about the horrors of living in the imperialist core. Tim Dillon is just supposed to be funny, so.
So we don't know. I mean, if you're watching this and you don't know who Tim Dillon is, it's perfectly fine, and it doesn't. It like literally does not matter.
Don't look it up. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Anyway, Zach, do you have any closing remarks for our show for this evening?
Yeah, I do actually. So I just want to give a quick shout out and a happy anniversary to the 60th anniversary of the failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion by the United States. That happened earlier this week. They marked the 60th anniversary of America's first attempt to thwart the rise of the Cuban communist control. They failed, and they have spent 60 years since then failing in increasingly funny and more catastrophic ways. As a communist, I am totally owned whenever you try to bring up Cuba on me. Please, Jake Tapper and the hosts of The View and any other reactionary losers, please continue to bring up Cuba whenever I tell you that I'm a communist. I feel so owned, and I feel so bad when people find out about Cuba, especially when they find out about their health care and their use of doctors to send around the world, and their environmental policies, and their housing policies, and their levels of childhood hunger. I'm so owned when that information gets out into the public. Their environmental plans, I think I said that one already. Their natural disaster plans, and despite being in the middle of right where hurricanes love to strike, how they manage to not get killed at the same rates as say Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. Just please don't bring up Cuba, because I feel so owned every time you do. Especially now that they have developed their own vaccine for COVID, which took them a little bit longer because they did not have as many people to test it on, because there was not as much COVID on the island. That they will almost definitely be able to export to countries such as Haiti, that the United States has kept from being able to get access to any vaccines. Please don't try to own me by mentioning Cuba. I will be so upset. I will be so upset when you tell me that it's proof that communism doesn't work. I do. If I will say, though, there is one thing, that there is a torture camp on the island of Cuba that has to, people are tortured without a trial, and that's unfair. But you might be surprised as to see which government runs that one.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you for publicly telling everyone about your humiliation fetish. Yeah. If you do want to own Zach, bring up Cuba, and his dick gets hard. Anyway, all right, that was a joke. That was a joke for this show. That's good. Thank you everyone for watching so much. Thank you for watching even as things get bleaker and bleaker. If you want to support people who aren't us, please sign up for the Patreon for 2MB Studios. It supports all the runners for this network. And you could also give some money to local nonprofits through our show Showing Up, which is on the second Sunday of each month from 4:30 to 6. In addition, we have a fun show where you could forget about the horrors of the world coming up right after this called Quarantine Action Wrestling. So stick around for that, and we will see you next week.